Hey, Max. We're
What's
live.
up, Keenan? We're back
We're
here.
live. You know,
First real podcast of the year, by the way. 'Cause we did a live, but that doesn't count.
you did. It was actually a pretty good. You actually got some votes on that live. People that disliked you liked you on that one.
Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Good to
Well
hear.
done. So, but let's drop that intro. It's a silly season wrap up for us here. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's get cracking.
Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro is the glory, but E-Buggy pays the bills. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to show number 342.
I think
Yeah.
it's 343.
No, it would have been 343 because now it's 342. Trust me.
Okay.
Trust me. Well, welcome everybody. Show number 340. It is 342, Max. Trust me when I tell you this. Trust me. Just trust me. Trust the lefty. Trust me. It's 342. What's up, everybody? Max and I are back for our first recorded podcast of 2026. And it's going to be a 90-minute occasion, right, Max? We're not going 4 hours. We're not going 7 hours. We're not going 2 hours. We're going 90 minutes max because this is a silly season wrap up. And okay, so let's take it easy on the tangents, both of us. What do you think?
I think of all the silly seasons we've had, this is probably the quietest. But I still think there's some storylines here that we ought to discover. So
it was quiet because there was no real. There were a few chassis moves, which is really kind of what gets us going. There were some like one or two. There were some big tire moves. One really big tire move. But yes, it was quiet in the sense of what we saw last year or previous silly seasons. But I did not expect it to be a big razzle-dazzle affair this year because it's a world year. A lot of these guys are in their 2-year contracts. We're going to get into all of that. It still has a lot of storylines, a lot of things at play, and there's a lot of boards, a lot of movements by the chess pieces on the chessboard right now. So before we do that, though, we have to say thank you to all of you guys out there, the NNRC squad around the world. We can't do it without you guys. Thank you guys for hitting that sub-like notification button. We are on the road to 10,000 subs. We're at 8,400 right now, about that. So let's roll those numbers up. We can do it before the end of the year. If we can do it before the end of the year, we're going to figure out something to give away somehow, some way to do it. 10,000 subs. Let's do it in 6 months. Let's go. If we can do it in 6 months, that's good. But hit that hit that sub, like, and notification button, please. Also, a big shout out to our patrons and YouTube members. You guys get perks like early access. Thank you. For the price of a cup of coffee per month, you can support the podcast. We greatly appreciate that. And of course, we have sponsors. And without those companies that advertise with us, we can't do it. Shout out to our title sponsor for second year in a row. Big shout out to Jason and everybody there at JConcepts, our premium sponsors, High Tech RCD, Sidewinder Fuels, Invisible Speed, ML Toys, and thank you to all our other sponsors, Beach RC, Techno RC, Clinic RC, Get Shit Done Coffee, Elite RC Productions, One Up, Mayako, A Main Hobbies, SMC Racing, and Racecraft. We have links for all of them in the written description of this podcast. You could save some money. We make a little bit of money too. Just let them know you heard about it on the No Name RC podcast. And a big shout out to our drivers, Mr. David Runafalk, Robert Mathieu, Alexander Hadwick, Maddie G, Pecco Evening, Joona Haatanen, Mason Fuller. And we still haven't decided if Davey Bada's on the team yet. But we haven't I don't know if he's accepted yet.
Yeah,
I'll see him soon.
Yeah.
Ask him what he thinks.
Yeah.
And ask him what he thinks. We need a stock driver on our team too. My team. I'm all about stock now. But anyway, thank you to all those companies. We greatly appreciate it. It is 2026 is underway, Max. It is the 15th. It's the middle of January. Literally, well, almost middle.
Yeah.
It is the 15th of January. We did do a live show on Monday. We did promise everybody a SillySeason wrap up, which we will do, and a little catch up on what we've got going on. We know everybody knows you're kind of moving to France for 6 months. And exactly when is that supposed to happen?
I leave on the 26th, I think. Yeah, 26th. But I'll take all my gear with me. I think actually I'd be more active on the podcast than
You want to have
now.
a girlfriend.
Partly because, yeah.
You won't have distraction. I don't know, like you won't have no trees to tie yourself to either. Stuff like, well, probably.
Well, I mean, have you seen the protest in France? I'd love to go to one. Those
I'm sure.
fuckers are crazy.
Hey, that'd be you and your activist outfit right there. Cool. Well, that should be good. And you're going for how long?
Yeah, 6 months. I'll be back middle of June, hopefully.
Okay, so this is some sort of university exchange type of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, it's just studying the same stuff I study here, but doing it in France. Yeah.
All right, cool. Because you have a new segment coming out on the NNRC, which we're looking forward to, which is going to be called Max Tangents, the science of RC racing setup, brought to you by JConcepts. And hopefully you get that going. And yeah, we get cracking on that, and that's going to be cool. We're doing some restructuring here on the YouTubes. You're going to see it all kind of getting organized and little things happening here over the next few months, but it should be good. I really like the live race craps that we did the other year.
Yeah.
Monday. I like that. When possible, we're going to do that. Obviously sometimes it's just not possible, and I might do them myself, to be honest, which I have done. But I'm going to be doing more coffee and RC, more live shows. But I think we're going to break it up where live recaps will be like race recaps, not like coffee and RC.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think this is sort of the thing we've been trying to do for years. Like I remember back in the day, we tried to do like when we follow the race and we have those recaps every day.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of only works when enough people are interested about the race. Something like a DNC or a Worlds or something like that. But I think now the sort of recap on Monday, that's like the best thing to have. Because usually, I at least the past year or so, I think when we do a recap, it's like a week or two after the race. So it's kind of too late. And then when you do it live, it's also more interactive. It's in everyone's mind. So I think actually that's something at least I'd like to do more often. And luckily for us, there's pretty much now like 6 big races in America. When
it is. It's a lot of races. It's a lot of races.
It's a lot, but it's basically, if you count it, it's one every other month. So basically that's not that many like race recaps. Surely there'll be some in Europe. Maybe we'll do one from Roar Nationals, something like that. So then it'll obviously be more. But let's say it would be once a month. It wouldn't be so bad, to be honest. So I think we'll try to do almost every big race from Europe and America. But no more than 10, I think. So we're going to have to skip some.
We shall see, though, because sometimes if I'm actually attending the races, I'm not able to do it on a Monday because I might be traveling to the next one or traveling home. So we'll see how things work out. But yeah, more live shows. I've been doing a lot more. I love them. I'm going to try to do some while I'm going to do some while I'm at the track. I did one. I kind of did it at just with Elite RC. We'll probably do that as well. But I take my stuff with me. I have some gear. I need to get some better mic stands. That's probably something I need to order and get sent to Lance's so I can have this and have some good mic stands there. He's gonna be like, man, you sent to me. What am I, a personal post office box? I was like, yeah. All right. But yes, we are back on the groove. We're gonna have different things. I'm doing my thing. I've been kind of just hanging out all of Christmas, kind of recuperating. Took some time off. Spent a lot of time with my kids. Me and my daughter's been doing a lot of RC. She was doing some RC yesterday. And, I'm trying to get the Lefty's RC life going, enjoying that, trying to work with some companies here to get some product to do some GT racing here. I got some content planned around that. And I got some cool things, just getting ready. I don't know if you've seen all these videos and all this nefarious actions by Danny Paz and his team Paz over there, but I am in, once again, I have the bullseye on my back, but that's all right. I can hold it and I can carry it quite well. But my mission to defeat Danny Paz this year is number one on list of things to do. But and have fun and get more racing. Try to get racing here. I've been geeking out on crawling, and I know you're gonna be good, dude. There's science to it. There's geometry. There's setup. There's even driving skill to it. Like I'm talking about like hitting hard lines and climbing up vertical things like that and stuff like that. Not just bashing around some trail, which is fun. I think, too.
Yeah, I think RC crawling is like so much better than full scale. Because full scale is basically like you just go to a forest and you like run it up. And it's like the machines, you have so much power, you have all of that. But like I think RC, it's like very intricate and so fine and so detailed. And it's actually, I think, more about skill than full scale.
I don't know about that. I've never did it. I've never did full scale. But
obviously I've never done it. But way
so how could you know? You haven't even done the RC stuff.
Well, I've watched it. I've done RC stuff. I've watched like crawling, and basically it just looks like the fuckers ram up the hill. There is different types, okay?
No,
there are different types. There are more like
You're talking about like hill climbing.
Well, there's like off road, and then there's crawling. I guess I'm thinking more about off road, because off road is like Formula off road and stuff like that. I don't know. Well, this
is like building a rig that's it's like for clearance and geometry. It's
I know the RC crawlers.
I've been geeking out because my buddy Gene Strout and Tony Patterson and Josie, he turned us into the minis, Gene's into the 10 scales. He's with that guy. I went to the guy Exo Cages Compound. He's like a YouTuber, and I've been watching a lot of his videos. I'm just been geeking out on that stuff, and I got some builds planned. I'm building a monster truck this year too, like a real monster truck, like retro when it comes out, the new JConcepts one, to race Danny Paz. And I'm just excited. I've been wrenching a lot lately, and I really haven't wrenched in years like that. And I've been enjoying it. I've just been sitting on my couch, wrenching on my couch, on my coffee table, watching TV. My daughter's running around, and I'm just like, having fun on my crawlers and monster trucks, and teaching my daughter how to drive because she wants to learn how to drive. The goal is to hopefully get her racing at some point. So just having fun with RC. I got to do some RC, and I got to do it in a way. All right, enough dilly-dally. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of this podcast, which is SillySeason, and that is brought to you by JConcepts. Thank you, JConcepts, for all the support. All right. 2025-2026 silly season. For those who may be new to RC, this is the hypest thing. It was not too hyped this year, but it was a little hype. But it usually is at the end of the year, one of the biggest, most talked about things in the RC racing industry. It's something that's whispered in pits amongst people about somebody whose uncles, brothers, sisters saw somebody testing at this unique track somewhere over, all this type of stuff. But it's like what legends are made out of. And as a racing fan, as an RC racing fan, I geek out on this like always, even before I started working in the industry, doing this podcast, doing what I did. It was always something that I geeked out on. And the people seem to like it. And it's basically when these top drivers, and not so top drivers, because there are some guys who don't do this for a living that do make moves and that are worthy of saying some. But it's usually when everybody in RC, even from the top tier drivers to the guys who are just getting sponsored and moving up or getting their first sponsor. It's a big thing that happens in RC every year. And lots of moves are made, usually small moves. It might be small, little, tiny moves. It might be big moves, if you saw with Dakota Fen. But it's some sort of moves. And basically, it's these top drivers going around, shuffling around where they can get some funding, where they can get a salary, where they can get some travel budget, where they can get some contingency and basically run the company's products, fly their colors for 2 years or so. And then it usually starts all over again after 2 years. So, yeah, think of it as similar to a trade season in baseball, or maybe almost not like an NFL draft because you aren't drafting rookies, but also maybe like transfer season in the English Premier League where you can transfer players. Not that these companies are paying the companies for the players, but drivers may not get paid at this company, may let go at this company, or may not get what they want at that company. They go to a company that's going to give it to them or try to give it to them. So we follow these moves. We talk about them. I want to say we don't know all the moves that happen. We primarily focused on off-road. I watch a lot of the RC Racing TV news that they do every week. They do a lot of the on-road stuff. They did a great job of following SillySeason. They officially declared SillySeason closed the other day. And I think somebody announced that they joined. Yes, who was it? I think they said SillySeason is closed. And then somebody announced that they joined somewhere. I can't remember who it was. You probably have it here. But it is a fun time. We have fun with it. And usually once it kicks off, it starts going. This season's SillySeason, like we said earlier, was probably not the biggest one we've seen in recent years, or even I would say that the Dakota Fen move was probably the biggest move out of it, and probably the biggest wow factoring move. But we've seen some big SillySeason moves over the year, and there was none really like that. I would reckon like when we saw Ruddog join Mayako, that was a big one. Why? I'm biased because I was a part of that, right? Well, a part of announcing, even though I didn't know I was going to be announced. If you ever want to see that, you want to see me truly surprised, go see when JQ announced Dave Ruddog to join Mayako. But Fen was close. But what it was this year was a lot of tires switching up. We saw a lot of tire changing. We saw servos. We saw ESCs and motors. We don't have everybody that did that. And then it was a couple of chassis shifts here in off-road, but nothing too ostentatious. We didn't see any of the big names who probably just joined chassis switch over, or like Mason Fullers, who's been with S-Works now for a couple of years now. He's not changing. And not only that, a lot of these guys are coming up on a world year. They don't really want to get on a new platform. And a lot of these guys' contracts are up after 2 years. So the point of this podcast is we're basically just going to go through the moves that we know, that we think, and wrap up SillySeason and our thoughts on them.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, and I think it's interesting because if you think about SillySeason 2 years ago, even though it was a World's year and blah, 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 I still think there was much more chassis moves. Like the only market we saw lots of people moving around was tire market. So that was definitely interesting. Like there's something at play here, I think. I mean, we're going to talk about it all at the end of the show as well. But yeah, I'd say, to my memory, the most quiet of SillySeasons. And like everybody basically moved somewhere, but the issue with that was, or the sort of interesting fact about that was, it was mostly like small stuff like servos or batteries or blah blah blah, which, to be honest, I'm not really interested in. I'm more interested in the big stuff.
Unless you change to high-tech servers in your Cavalier, and then you get a special shout out because high-tech's been an awesome sponsor of this podcast.
Well, sure, but I do think it's the reason why I included it, on top of the fact that high-tech has been probably one of our longest standing sponsors, is that high-tech is one of those brands that don't really have a big foothold in the sort of pro scene of RC. They hired Ronefolk a few years back, which was a big announcement as well, a big move. So there are a few like that. I think there's a few moves I've included here. Bada to Hobby Wing, for example, and stuff like that, which actually like
have significance.
Have significance, even though the news itself is not that significant. That's kind of my
yes, exactly. That's kind of what I would sum up the entire SillySeason as. It doesn't seem significant, but it has significance nonetheless, and has its own storyline and has its own part to play in this new wave of tires, like everything that's going on right now in racing.
Yeah, I'd say it's kind of like indirect messaging. I don't know what the term for it, but in movies there's kind of like this thing that
subliminal messaging.
Subliminal messaging, exactly that. When you know what's behind it, it's actually interesting, but by looking at it doesn't look so much. So
exactly,
there's some of that, which is why I think there is things to talk about in this podcast, even though it was, as we said, a bit more quiet than usual.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I think we should get into the main thing, which is usually when we start this with is because it's the biggest thing. It's chassis moves, and those are brought to you by High-Tech RC. Looking for top-tier performance and reliability in your RC setup? High-Tech RCD has you covered with industry-leading chargers and servos for both surface and air applications. Whether you're bashing, racing, or taking to the skies, High-Tech's advanced technology delivers precision, power, and durability when you need it most. From high-torque servos to smart, efficient charging solutions, trust High-Tech to keep you in control. High-Tech, powering passion, elevating performance. Visit hightechrcd.com today, and we are working on a code for you guys for that, but let them know you heard about it on the No Name RC podcast. All right, Max, go ahead. We got Jones to WIRC.
Yeah, to me, it's not necessarily that big of a move. I think what is interesting, though, is the sort of he left Sparko, that is, or got kicked out of Sparko, whatever you want to display it as. And I don't think I'm pretty sure he didn't get paid, because I know that he has a full-time job, and I don't know if he got travel money. Did he get something like that?
I think he was getting some salary and some travel money, and I don't know the whole story.
Yeah,
but
either way, it doesn't really. I don't think Sparko picked anyone up in the States.
No, because also David Olson, who had recently joined them, Sparko, he also is. I think I read a post the other day where he's taking a break. Like he was chasing the pro dream, just joined Sparko after coming off. He was with HB for a year and a half, and he's taking a break. So I don't know what his plans are. But no, they have not picked up anybody of note in the USA that I would say of pro note.
Yeah, so to me, it's kind of interesting.
But they have Lee Setzer.
They have Lee and they have Joona Wilson, yes, which they picked up early last year, both of them from AE. But it's kind of weird because when Jones started with Sparko, it was kind of a splash. He won that race, Peach State Classic, was it?
It was either that or Georgia Shootout, one of the two.
One of the two, yeah. But yeah, one of those races he won against good competition, by the way.
Aiden Horn. It was a couple of guys. It was not like a stacked competition, but it was people there that could have definitely beat him.
Yeah, that should have beat him in at least when he was running a Gamma. For sure, they would have beat him then. So, and then he was having like these TQ runs once in a while and good results. Then he kind of slowed down, and now he's sort of kicked out of the team, or I don't know the storyline here, but definitely hasn't been a very smooth and silky road for Sparko with their drivers, with what happened with Ogden, all of that kerfuffle. Now Jones. It's kind of they seem to chew through all of their drivers rather fast. I do think Wilson is something that will stick. I'd assume same thing would happen with Setsa. But I mean, who knows? I think Wilson is rather certain, but I don't know if Setsa will be that sort of a successful one. So definitely, it says more about Sparko this move than it says about WRC. Although that being said, I do think it's good. WRC has been making a bit of a push, I'd say. They have Trevisan in Europe, and we'll go into Neauman, which joined in Europe side, and now we have Jones in America. So it seems like they are trying to get these sort of mid-level pros, like not full pros, but like what would you say, part-time racers that are fast, and can put it into an A main at the national or continental race, not necessarily a world or anything like that, but a continental race. So I'd say it's a decent pickup for WRC. Definitely doesn't look good for Tyler because this is like sixth, seventh, eighth. I don't even know how many brand he's been running in the past few years. So doesn't look good for him, but at least he got something to run. So I guess, yeah.
Yeah, Tyler is semi-pro at now. He can be of some value to WIRC. WIRC has had a tumultuous time in the USA. They were gaining some ground under Senate RC. It's been through various different owners. Now it's a general. His name slips me. I've talked to him on Instagram, I believe, but he's out in West Coast and SoCal. I'm sure he's doing it now. So I wish him all the best, because that's a very hard game to be in, the chassis game. And it's just been very hard for WIRC USA, but it looks like WIRC Europe seems to do okay, right? They've got it's
Euros
hard,
A main, Worlds almost A main. I like, or let's just say B main at the Worlds, but yeah, I think when they initially started out, when they got Lutz, for example, and some of these other guys, I thought that if they were successful initially, they would be successful long term, because it seems like they are like a decent manufacturer, and that if they would have success, people would like flock onto it because it would be basically a cheap Mugen. But then actually the beginning was horrible. Like Lutz absolutely didn't perform under WRC, and there was
it was
a lot
not
of
a very
other,
good road for him in the beginning. The people that were importing it kind of disappeared, and then another person had to take it over. And
I know, yeah,
it was just he did the best that he could. It was not the ideal for Lutz, but they did gain some composure after that when Sended RC had it. But it's still kind of tumultuous. They've signed a few people over there in SoCal. It's a grind. It's just a grind like any of these other smaller chassis brands out there.
Yeah, the thing with them is interesting because it seems like kind of they come in, get Lutz, and it fails. They come in, get a Baruffalo, looks good initially, but then it fails in the end too.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of didn't really have anyone except for Trevisan, but he succeeds with the car. He's like, every year he keeps getting better, and he's pretty much like a top European competitor if you think about it, like what he's doing at Euros, and even in Italy I think he's doing pretty well. And then maybe Jones can do that, what he did to Sparko to a WRC in America, and now they, as I said before, they have Neauman to join them. So it's weird because I feel like there's been so many points where a lot of other brands would have just gone away, but these ones just been, getting back on their feet and maybe actually even succeeding now.
Well, I mean, they say they signed Jorn Neauman, which I think is it's just a no offense to Tyler, but I think it's a great signing for them because over there in Europe, we are going to get into some 10 scale moves, but we see that they're going to be releasing a 10 scale as well, getting on with that. So it's going to be interesting to see what the push is going to be. We're going to talk about the 10 scale stuff for in a minute. But yeah, Jorn's to WIRC, not the biggest move. You'll see how it all plays out. And I saw he's building his cars over this last week. He seems to be happy. I watched that guy Fabrizi Tegesi, who's the Italian YouTuber guy, RC YouTuber. He drives for him. He did a tour of the factory. So
yeah, he used to be HP actually.
Yeah, for the longest while.
Yeah. Well, he was Kyosho for the longest while, but then HP since I think 2020 or something like that.
Maybe not even that long. That long.
But he was pretty much like the sole HP guy for a while. So
yeah. All right. I think let's move on to Wallie to HongNor, which we talked about on Monday.
We talked about on the live, but yeah, basically HongNor is making a push. Let's see what happens, because you don't sign Wallie and then just never sign a pro at any point. And we basically, the conclusion we came to on Monday was that we think A-Main is gonna try to make like a real thing about HongNor.
Mm-hmm.
With
Racing
their
and
like
RTRs.
Yeah. So that was our theory. Could it end up with Mayfield going to HongNor? This is something we didn't mention on Monday, but basically Mayfield, everything A-Main does, Mayfield runs. Even JConcepts now. So Mayfield to HongNor for the last hurrah of his career.
Oh, Max. Max, look what just started. Look, I wasn't even but it's possible. It is definitely possible.
Yeah.
It is definitely possible. But let's talk about some other things that happened with Wallie. I know this is not chassis, but we don't know what's going to happen here. But then yesterday, Wallie makes an announcement. And we say this because Wallie, we talk about Wallie. We like Wallie. We think he's good for the industry. He works for A-Main. He's always been involved, and he's worked for Associated, all these companies over the years. But he announces that he'll no longer be running TZO, no longer be running, what was it? TZO,
Avid,
Racecraft, and Avid. So then everybody now thinks, and then he says, I have an opportunity. I think it was. I have to probably go find it. So then that makes me think something is up with that. And I don't know. I think you and I are kind of thinking the same thing here.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious, considering like Racecraft makes like front wings and some random stuff. Avid makes hop-ups, titanium stuff, and
they're making tires now.
Oh, Avid is making. Oh yeah, true.
They're making tires and wheels now too.
And and then TZO is a tire brand. So the only brand who would do all of those three things, as they seem to be clearly connected in this post as well, is our title sponsor, JConcepts. So I think it would actually be a great move for both parties. I've always had a lot of respect for Wallie in the terms of how he presents his stuff that he runs. Like, it doesn't matter which fucking brand he runs, it always looks like it's the best shit.
Yes.
The videos he does, the way he like builds the cars, all of that stuff. Yeah, he may not be like the most sort of brand loyalist guy or the fastest racer or even the best like not mechanic but a setup guy, but the appearance that he can make these things look, and especially now in the West Coast, I think it's the best situation. A-Main, JConcepts have a distribution deal. TZO, Promotion, a lot of these other tire companies are really making a push on the West Coast. I would think it would make a lot of sense for Wallie and JConcepts to.
I mean, it sounds like that, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Sure, go ahead.
What if it's something else?
Well, yeah, I mean,
what if it's another brand of tires that's doing this? Because here's what I'm thinking. So here's what he says. Late SillySeason post, I have been given a new opportunity to further advance my career in the industry. With this change comes a few changes to my race program. So, I mean, we could all be just, I have not contacted Wallie about this. I don't know what's happening. I like thinking of all the possibilities that could happen here for us. But so either we think he's going to become the JConcepts like team manager or whatever type of vibe that we got going
Brand
on.
ambassador, whatever you call
think-
these guys these days.
I think it could be like a team manager type of vibe who's going to go to the races and deal with that.
Yeah, I do see that being a thing, because didn't he do like his Wallie builds team? He had that a few years ago. So
Yeah,
why not have that through A main and JConcepts now? Yeah, why not? I think it makes sense. Or then
Or-
some other brand, but
What if it's HOTRACE or Matrix or something completely different that we don't even know what's happening?
I mean, sure, but why? I mean, I guess it could be that A main told him that, hey, you have to run all of Protec stuff and all these Protec accessories, and
Maybe.
actually we came up with titanium screws, and then they just have another tire brand. Sure, it's possible, but I think he knows that people kind of, he knows what people know, so I think that's why he made all of three in the same post. So
We shall see. It's going to be interesting. That whole why we talking about Wallie so much is because it's so much. It's like a spider web, right? It's so much intricate. It's going all over the place, and it
Yeah.
leads to one place. It seems at all the same time.
no, but I do think it's he's a employee at A main, as I'm as
So
far as I'm concerned.
he does work for them managing, but he doesn't work directly at A main. He works virtually for them, because A main owns different online hobby shops and stuff like that. So he
Yeah.
manages that. But
Yeah.
I listen. I think guys like Wallie being in, I said this on Monday. I think guys like Wallie being in the RC industry in a position that they can influence things and get things done. And he's like, I don't know how old you're, Wallie. I want to say you're in your early 30s or just went 30, maybe. I don't know.
Oh,
But still,
I think he's over 30.
he's over 30, but I don't think he's that over 30. But he still has time to do things and I like the way Wallie thinks. So we'll see what this all plays out with Wallie and these moves. Let us know what you think, because we've been talking about this. There's been a lot of buzz around this HongNor car. It's like the second time around, but the other car was older. Now it's a lot of buzz around this. So, but there is some big force behind it. It seems.
Yeah, I think what happened with HongNor is, like, we know HB produced a lot of their stuff in Taiwan and around that area, and HongNor most likely is connected to where HB was produced. So I do think there's this sort of, if one brand goes bankrupt and you can't sell stuff that they've been making for years, why don't you just revive your old brand, HongNor? Like, I think they saw it, what we saw when HB was going down, and then now they're coming out with it full force. And yeah,
Not
they also
HB.
seem to.
Not HB. HongNor.
Yeah, I know, but I think HongNor was manufacturing parts for HB, or at least the same people who are behind HongNor was manufacturing parts for HB.
I have no idea about that.
That's my
No
guess.
idea.
That's pure speculation, but that's my guess.
All right,
It's
so
very
that's-
likely. There aren't many companies who manufacture parts.
Okay.
In Taiwan.
All right. Moving on, we're going to go to Spain. We talked about this. Adrien Pariente, the younger of the Pariente brothers, joined Sparko. Him, who else joined? Alex Lim, who used to run Mayako, because he hangs out with those guys as well. He joined them. He's from Paraguay. So Adrien moved to Sparko, and won the last round of Spanish Nats against Canas and all those fast guys.
Yeah, all of them.
What makes this strange is that his brother's running Techno, and he's been running a mixed match of brands privateer-wise for the last year or so.
Yeah.
But, hey,
Yeah, it was
more
funny
power to him.
because when it was announced that the younger of the Parientes would not be running a Techno, I remember his older brother saying somewhere on a comment that Adrien would run Kyosho. And then he went to Montpellier, and I'm pretty sure he ran HP. And he ran at HP for a little while. And then I think IBC it was this spring. He was
had a
running
Mugen.
Mugen. And then he ran Mugen for the whole year. And now he's running Sparko with the deal. So he has a Sparko deal. Sparko has probably one of the strongest two youngsters in Europe with Nohaben Mohamed and Adrien Pariente. If I would guess who would be the next generation of a European champion, it would be one of the other. Like, if you think young kids coming out of Europe, those two are definitely the strongest right now of their age. And we discussed this sort of older brother, little brother thing, why it would be this case. I think it's just because Daniel is paid and Adrien was not paid. I think that's like they had a different deal from Techno. So then there was just like, hey, like, let's just switch. Like, what's the loss if they can get a better deal elsewhere for Adrien? And he's been doing really well, especially with the fact that, I mean, we all have to acknowledge that Techno is not the obvious choice for European, especially like Spanish high grip, high speed tracks. It takes a lot of work to get the setup working. Even Joao has been saying about that. And I think they get better every year, and the new car probably even better than the old one with the wide rear pivots. But yeah, I think for Adrien it makes a lot of sense to seek elsewhere, as because he's still young, you know.
Okay, all right. Well, let's show some love to our RC family of an Oceania.
Oceania.
Oceania. We had Jaden Edmonds. He leaves Mayako, which kind of sparked JQ's comeback.
Yeah.
We're not sure where he's going. Kristen Walhooter, not Hunter. Walhooter.
Really? That's how.
Yep.
Okay.
Leaves. He left S-Works, joins Kyosho. I wasn't too surprised with that. He's really good friends with Fee and his dad. Him and his dad. And Logan Toya from New Zealand. So Christian and Jaden are both from Australia. And Logan Toya leaves HB and joins Mayako with his younger brother. And I actually showed a video of him ripping around in that grassy New Zealand.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It looked like something out of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So,
well,
you know.
didn't they film it at least? Leave it there?
Yes.
Yeah.
So shout out to our Oceania. How do you say it again?
I think it's just Oceania.
Oceania. I just say Asia. Like
No, but
Asia, Australia?
that's different because Asia is like
Can we just say
China.
Femke?
Those. No, but
Femke
that's
block?
different because there's 7 continents in the world, and Australia and Oceania is one of them, and then Asia is one of them.
I know this, Max. I know this.
Geography,
all right,
man.
Let's get into. Let's wrap up chassis moves of 10 scale real quick here. As we said, Jorn Neauman, he left S-Works, which I was kind of surprised that he did because he seemed comfortable there and had a position there. But he had been there for 8 years.
Yeah, it's a long time. I didn't because you remember he was still running Schumacher at one point. So like it's that far since he left. So
I think Jorn's probably just looking to ride out the last bit of his career somewhere where he can continue to do it. Because look, Jorn has run off camber brands for years. He went to the Max. I don't know if you remember this. You might not even have been racing when this was around, but him and Dagani were teammates at one time with the SH car. No, with the SH car.
Okay, I didn't know that one.
Or LRP. Yeah. It might have been I don't know if it was an LRP car, or was an SH car, but they were teammates. What about like late 2000s, like late 2000s. Like late 2000, before 2010, that era.
I remember Jorn Neauman made the world's A main with the LRP car in 2010.
Oh, that's the car that we're talking about then.
Yeah.
That's the same car. It was an SH car.
Okay, yeah. But it was like a LRP SH. Like
I remember it had the brakes. Like the brake. I don't know if this is the same car, but it had the rear brakes were actually on the rear of the car.
Yeah, they had this like it was attached to the like a pinion, you know, like the pinion gear of the diff case. Yeah.
If you remember the LRP or SH car, send us some pictures in the comments here. Send me some pictures. But yes, so he's joined WIRC. According to them, they're developing a new platform, but in 10 scale. But for now, he's just running X-ray. I mean, Jorn's still capable of making shit. Jorn's the type of guy. He could be there or not be there, and then he could be in the final. Next, he could be winning that stuff. You just never know with Jorn.
Yeah,
He's still
the
got that
craziest.
capability.
Yeah, it's crazy with Jorn is like at EOS. Sometimes he's like, oh, this guy's in the B main. Then the Euros comes and he TQs 2 rounds.
Yeah,
like out of nowhere. Like this year, he did that. He started like second or third in the main, which is wild. So actually, it's interesting to see because to me it sounded the way the first post he made after he joined WRC, after he went to like a club race or whatever, it clearly sounded like this was a 10 scale project. That 8 scale is just like he didn't join WRC to run their 8 scale car. He joined WRC to develop a 10 scale car.
I mean,
I think so. But
you don't think he's going to run 8 scale at all?
Oh, he's going to run it for sure.
Yeah,
just like he did with S. Yeah, they have GT and they have 8 scale. So I do think he's going to run both of those.
Champion.
He is. I know. I think he's going to run both. But I think the reason why he was a good fit was because they are interested in developing a 10 scale platform.
I believe so too. And I think he's helped out a lot. Him and Mika have been really into the S-Works, where the X-Works car is now. That's where they're...
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty much the only two guys who are straight up in contact with the designing side of the things.
So you think... I think this is a good move for Jorn.
I think so too. I think he would have had a kind of like a lifetime job at S-Works if he did want that. But at the same time, I do think this gives him just one last hurrah. Like what does he have? One more European Championship in him in 10 scale? Obviously, I think so. I think I would not be surprised if that happened.
Okay,
so. I think that's kind of what he's going after. Maybe he got a better paycheck as well. I'd imagine that'd be a thing. But yeah, who knows?
Interesting. All right. Moving on, we have Brennan, Schimmel departing ways with X-Ray, joining their nemesis, Schumacher.
You know what?
Boosting already strong Schumacher team in the USA.
Yeah. You know what I think about this move?
What's that?
This is the biggest chassis move.
I agree.
In all of this silly season. Schimmel, World's A finalist, Raw national champion, still developing 10 scale driver, still getting better each year. And he joins Schumacher 2 years, right after the previous Worlds. I think if you think about it, this is going to give you like an incredibly strong Schumacher team in America. You have Tom from R1, previously from R1.
Mm-hmm.
You have
Nate
Chamberlain. Now Schimmel.
Tollard,
yeah, exactly. I think at Clash, there was a round where Schumacher went like 1st to 5th.
You know what, Carrot? The unreleased interview yet, it's coming out. If you're a patron or YouTube member, you've watched this already because it's been up for about a week, but I have Marcus Carrot interview coming out next week. You know what he said about Schumacher? He said Schumacher guys know their stuff.
Yeah,
that's what he said. He said they just know their stuff. That's what they're really good right now. They know their stuff. And so this move comes about. I don't think Schimmel was very happy at X-Ray, right?
I don't think so too. I think he was left kind of out.
And he was at times probably the best X-Ray guy at some of these places.
Yeah,
at some points, right? So I like Schimmel. I enjoy watching him race. And you know what? Now we get to see Brennan. We get to say Brennan, Schimmel, and the Schumacher. That's what I like to say.
Yeah,
Schumacher. The shimmying Schumacher shakes down the straightaway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a tongue twister.
There it is. So Schimmel to him. And you have Christopher Sturdy leaves Associated and joins Schumacher. He is another Australian racer.
Yeah, the reason why I think this is of importance is that in Australia, you basically either ran X-Ray or you ran AE. Those were the two brands that you run in Australia in 10 scale. And I saw they signed, he wasn't the only one. They signed like a few like mid-level Australians to Schumacher. Sturdy, he's pretty good, I've understood, in 10 scale.
I think Jaden drives for Schumacher as well. And
Yeah, he does. I think. Yeah, he does. So they have like a decent team now in Australia, and I think part of the reason is that they went over there and won the worlds with the two-wheel drive. When
Could
everyone
be.
was kind of
Could be.
saying like Schumacher's in the back feet. So Schumacher is making a lot of these mid-level moves, and then they got Schimmel. So I think well done to them. Well done to them.
They are. It's going to be a battle here. I get to see them all here very shortly at the first INS race coming up here at I hope Fen comes, but he might not because he's probably going to do SIC. So he's probably not going to do he might do INS. But yeah, I've got to watch the Schumacher X-Ray Associated rivalry kind of over the last year and a bit, and it's brewing. It's definitely brewing. And dude, these guys, they're hooking out there. Like, it is good to see, like, the racing. I'm really excited about 10 scale. And a lot of these moves and a lot of the tire implementation in tire moves are really going to be affected in 10 scale. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But I wanted to bring up something while we close up on chassis deals. Is something we haven't heard about yet. I've heard this is rumor that 2023 two-wheel drive world champion Tater Sontag is no longer with X-Ray. I don't know how true this is. The rumor is that he's supposed to be going to S-Works, and the rumor, I've heard so much stuff. I heard he's going to S-Works, he's going to be a test and tune driver, he's going to do this, he's just going to test and tune. Here's the fact. He did not show up for I don't think he showed up for the Clash, which was the first big race of the year at Hoosier. He did not. And he did not show up to race at Silver State either. But neither did any of the X-Ray team. But right now, we do not know or have any confirmation of what is going on with Tater Sontag.
Yeah, it's the Stephen Hodson syndrome. Win a world too early, and
the system fails these young. And Hodson was a career man. Tater Sontag is still a young driver that could have a possible career in front of him. So the system is obviously broken. All right. Let's get into some of the real nitty-gritty was the tire market here. And I asked JQ, I said, being as you're in your comeback mode, let's get an updated commercial. But you know what? Because we like this so much and we just like to stop scrolling. You Lewis Hamilton, invisible speed, make your speed visible. You can check out the basic course on YouTube right now. He's releasing a video almost twice a day.
Stop scrolling. You want to be Lewis Hamilton? Learn something new with invisible speed. You can't do everything at 100% maximum speed. You have to be smooth. I mean, when you drive a real car, if you drive a real car, how do you just, when you get to a 90-degree corner to turn into the parking lot, do you go like that with the steering wheel? Do you like slam on the throttle and the brake? No. You probably turn the wheel smooth and get on the throttle smooth. Same thing with an RC car. If you want to learn more and make your speed visible, stop scrolling.
Stop scrolling. That's right. You can find links for invisible speed in the written description of this podcast. If you have the book, check that out too. It is well worth it. All right. Let's get into where we saw a lot of moves. Lots of moves that mean things in the tire market this year. And we talked about this on Monday, but once again, here we go. Matrix really making the big, huge, giant push in the 10 scale market and 8 scale market, because they're going to have to do 8 scale as well. In the USA, they're making a big push in 10 scale market worldwide, but in the USA, making a big push in the 10 scale market and the 8 scale market is Matrix Tires, who are already a world champion with David Ronnefeld. Davide Angaro, sorry.
Davide Angaro,
but they pick up Dakota Fenn from JConcepts. He is supposed to be assuming the team manager role. He already had a pretty good showing on the tires. He TQ'd at Clash, and I think he finished second in two-wheel drive. He finished second. I didn't know that Fenn was from Canada now, but yes, he finished second in two-wheel drive, and he finished third in four-wheel drive. So great debut for the Matrix slicks there at Hoosier. And yeah, I think this was the biggest move. If you would have told me that Dakota Fend was going to leave JConcepts at the end of 2025, I would have been like, no way. But apparently, from what I heard, HOTRACE was also trying to sign him as well. And Matrix won out. And if it's anything like what I heard that Ronafalk was getting, which you said is not right, but I think it is, I get it. We ran across this. Somebody messaged me the other day, and I think he's new to RC. And if you're listening to this and you're new to RC, that's why I'm going into these details. He's like, why do these guys leave? Like, he used Fenn. He goes, why does Fenn leave a winning tire company like JConcepts? And I just simply put it to him. I said, if you had an opportunity to make more money at doing the same thing at a different job, would you do it? And he goes, oh, I get it. I said, yeah, it's a job. So Fenn, thinking of the future here, I think, has a baby to feed, has a lot more responsibility, and I think he's looking for that longevity, as I said. So we went across that. We kind of agree with that. I think was Max that this is a good move for Fend, in the sense if he's looking at this to wet his feet in the business and prepare himself for a life in the business after racing has stopped in another 10 years or so or more. So yeah, but it's a lot of work, right? But here's where it's kind of easy. I don't want to say it's easier, but the 10 scale market is not as much tires as I want to say the 8 scale market, right? And changings of conditions and temperatures and water and all that type of stuff. Yes, you have. I'm not saying you don't have that in 10 scale, but not like 8 scale. So it's a slick tire and a carpet tire that you run, and then you adjust the compounds.
Yeah, you know what the difference is? The difference is additives, saucing. In 8 scale, a lot of the grip comes from, like, if you go to the East Coast, you have to run a pin tire. And if you go to the West Coast, yeah, then I guess the tire game is a bit more balanced as long as it's dry. But then when it's wet, it's again a bit of a toss up. Like, notably, Matrix has not been good when it's wet, even in Europe and especially in America. I remember that David Ronafalk fiasco. So I think in 10 scale, the difference is that they sauce it so much that you can make almost all of the tires somewhat good. Of course, there are differences with the tires. Clay compounds are very similar across all brands, but there's a difference between the tires, but I think it's much less because in 8 scale, I would like to believe that sourcing is quite rare. At least in Europe, it is.
They sauce
in America.
They sauce a lot at race and 8 scale, but to be fair, it's mostly for qualifying and stuff like that.
Yeah, the issue with sourcing at the East Coast races is that you have to run a pin tire and you have a long main. So sourcing a pin tire and a long main is going to just give you more tire wear, even though you might get away with the grip. But then if you ran like a slick and source that, the benefit would be much bigger. That's because the only component is the compound. But with the pin, bends and so on. So you're going to have to make a sticky compound that is firm, so the pin doesn't bend as much. In Europe, again, I think Europeans don't source nearly as much as Americans, if even at all. I'd imagine it become more common as we have gotten to these tracks where we run thread patterns. But even with the thread patterns, you still have some thread there. You still have like something that's not just the rubber. And also you again come into the issue of tire wear. Like, for example, JConcepts has been exactly struggling with wear. They have an incredibly fast tire with Europe, but they have not come together with the compound that has the wear and the speed together, which arguably HOTRACE has done in the glue tracks. And then, Sismic has done really well in the French, oil tracks. So all of these tires have some specific quality that they really like. But in 10 scale, like none of that really matters because all the tracks are very similar. They are, I think most of them are glued indoors, and then they have additives to use. So I think it's a much easier market to go into. You always run clay compound, and you always use sauce. So yeah, I think it's much easier to go into that as a tire manufacturer.
It is, but not all tires are equal, because we saw that this year, HOTRACE had a really big impact in the American slick tire.
Yeah, I think so
tire
too.
world.
Yeah,
And they had a very good carpet tire for the carpet championships. So I just think it's a little easier to get into the 10 scale market and be competitive right off the bat, as we've seen, because even tires like TZO, who don't have they don't have a big team of drivers, promotion, it just seems to be a little easier. I don't know. I'm not a 10 scale. It just seems, compared to what we have to do with an 8 scale. But did we say that's where the big test is going to come? Then we saw Savoia, who finished 7th in the A final at Silver State the other day.
Yeah.
But controlled conditions, right? No.
Yeah, it's different. Yeah, it's different. I'd say.
So it's going to be interesting to see. I believe Fend is coming to SIC. I have not confirmed this, but if he is coming to SIC, it's going to be interesting to see how the Matrix tires do. Because as far as I know, besides Savoia and maybe whoever else may be running from Matrix from Europe, this is the first time anybody in the USA of any note is running them. So, and even I would say anybody of any note is racing them. Not saying that Savoia isn't of winning of any note, but the last time Matrix was here, David Ronnefalk was here, and we expected him to win the DNC that year, right?
Yeah.
Whereas that level of driver. That's what I'm trying to say. No disrespect to Savoia, but it's going to be very interesting. They also picked up, I just wanted to go over, they picked up Talon Handy, who's a top stock driver in the USA. But the other person I want to talk about was Joona Haatanen, who they picked up after leaving HOTRACE. So that was a very good signing for Matrix as well, in my opinion.
Yeah. And you know what? I called this. As soon as he left HOTRACE, I was like, he's going to go to Matrix.
We all called it.
Oh, what you mean? You didn't
We
call
all
it?
called it in the group.
No, you didn't call it. I just want to add on to what you said about, the East Coast. I think it will be very interesting to see what happens with Fend, because like we all have to accept that DNC in 2023 was an outlier. They ran it under a roof and it was raining like hell. The track was wet. The temperature was cold. Like, it's very, very rare to have those conditions. And like we talked about it with JQ on the podcast, that he knew when it was nighttime in California and they had water to track, the Matrix wasn't working. In the dry, it was good. But that's very rare. You don't really, like when you go to BMB or SIC or any of that stuff, it can be cold, but it's never wet and cold. It can be hot, but it's never like very moist and hot. So usually the track's rather dry come mains, or then it's hot and sort of like still has some moisture, but not so much that it's like slimy. So I think it can actually work, but I do still think there are a lot of risks involved with the Matrix and the East Coast. I think they'll be okay in the West Coast, because as long as you have like dusty, loose dirt, almost any tire that has a good thread pattern and a decent soft compound works, but then to some extent, like might not be the best tire, but to some extent it always works. When it's higher wear, when it's tougher surface, or when it's moist or indoors, then the differences come. And it's a lot of the times it can actually be down to luck if it works. I think it's gonna be a tough ride for Fend. That's my best guess. But
An 8 scale?
At least at SIC. SIC.
Yeah.
I think
We'll see.
I think SIC might be the best of the ones, because it's usually
did win it last
quite
year.
dry. Yeah, and I think it's quite dry. Like usually, it gets this blue groove, which I think it's going to be fine. I think PMB is going to be the toughest one. Actually, Wicked Weekend might be pretty good for him. I think AMS and PMB will be the toughest for Matrix.
How about
As a
DNC?
guess. Well, it's different now, isn't it? Because it's in May, so
It's
it's
in
gonna be hot.
March right now. It's March this year.
Oh, so
Not
it was
changed to May
supposed to
yet.
be.
Not changed to
Okay.
May yet.
Okay. So next year is May.
Possibly.
Okay.
That's the goal.
So March. Well, I mean, it's gonna be. Let's say if
It's not
it
gonna be like
rains a lot-
February.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to say. Let's just say that if it rains, it's gonna be tough. If it doesn't rain, I think it'll do fine.
And we could be completely wrong because
Yeah, because it's just guessing at this point. We can't know. We've never
they
seen
could have
it.
changed a lot of things between then and her.
That's true too. Yeah.
All right.
But there is a clear correlation, though, that Matrix, like clay compounds of Matrix, until like the very end of the race, aren't usually the best. Sorry, oil tracks with the clay isn't the best. Glue tracks with the clay, for some reason, seems to work decent with Matrix. And then we know that, when it's wet, we saw that with Canas and Ongara at Buggeland one year. There are some disadvantages, but we know also that HOTRACE isn't good when it's oil tracks, and we know that Sismic sucks when it's not able to use the clay. So there's like all of the tires have their advantages. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
And also we think that, well, we'll bring that up. HOTRACE acquire some more 10 scale drivers, it looks like. I was told that Al Horn and Factory Tracks team have joined it, which is kind of, because Aiden runs them and they've been using them, obviously. And they run on a lot of dirt and carpet. They run 10 scale pretty much.
Yeah.
Really. Arlovsky splits with JConcepts, but his kind of deal wasn't always like his deal with JConcepts was he could run their accessories, he could run their tires, he could run HOTRACE tires. So he had like the best of both worlds. But
it was funny because he was sponsored by both HOTRACE and JConcepts. So it was a very weird deal. For JConcepts, I believe the deal was that he was there to run their bodies and accessories. That was kind of like why he ran JConcepts. But then the tire deal was kind of an open one. Because I remember back in the day, this is like 2018, I'd say. I remember Joona approaching Orlowski that he would like them to run the JConcepts. But there wasn't this issue that Schumacher wanted Michael to run Schumacher tires in 10 scale every time there's an open tire event, and also for like practice and stuff. So Schumacher kind of, as far as I understood, blocked Michael from running JConcepts at that time. And then they like made a deal that, hey, just run our accessories and bodies and tires when you can. Yeah. But now it was very messy because it's kind of like if you run JConcepts, it would look bad for HOTRACE, and if you run HOTRACE, it would look bad for JConcepts. So it was kind of, you can never really work with two tire brands unless you make it like at this event I run this tire. Let's say like 10 scale I run JConcepts and 8 scale I run HOTRACE or whatever,
Well, you can't make it if you're going to get a paycheck from both of them.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I think
or get free product or contingency, it's different. But
even at FCC, like running HOTRACE at JConcepts backyard in Florida, it doesn't look good on JConcepts. So I think it's best for both that he chooses one and sticks to it.
Yeah, okay. I would see that. And then we have Ryan Cavallari leaving TZO and joining HOTRACE, but that's also a feather in their cap for 8 scale as well. Which
I think it's actually a good one. I think
Cav is still, look, in 10 scale, Cav can still make mains, and I'll tell you what, he can make a top 3. I think he came second at one of these races or at Cleveland near the end of the year. So he's still capable. And you know what? He can still get into a final when everything's going right too for him. So
yeah. I think I also think there is I have no insights on this, but I think the world's kind of hurt the TZO Cav, because I remember there was this thing that when we posted the results and stuff, and I put Cav as HOTRACE. Apparently there had been some words between the two, between Nick and Cav, that it's not like it's like he didn't strictly forbid it, but he said that he didn't like the way it looked. And I don't want to shit on Cav too much, but he didn't even try the TCOs at the Worlds. And dude, for a good reason. They were not going to work at the Worlds. He said he tried the wheels, but even the HOTRACE wheels were better. So I don't want to. It sounds depressing, but I mean, I think TCO, their plan is to make it work in America, and then when it's time, they expand to Europe. And I think it's just something you have to kind of accept.
It's no different as for JConcepts, right? The expansion in Europe it's not something that happens overnight. So, all right, and that's a great segue into JConcepts, because they did acquire Burak Kilic, which we thought was a great asset to their team. But you got to see if Burak's going to stick it out, because the Kilics have had a tumultuous history with tires. So, but I think they will when you get to a team like that, and I think it's a little different, right? So,
well, you know what I think? The issue with Sismic was that they had absolutely amazing tires when it was time to run the clays. And it's funny, we even have this joke between a lot of the people that at the track, it's like, let's go look at Burak's times. Should we start running clays yet? Because he was basically, if Burak was slow, it's not time to run clays. And as soon as Burak was fast, then he was looking, now it's time to put on clays. So I remember like, this is like a common joke that as soon as the Kilic brothers got fast, then it was time to put on clays. And because that's just how the Sismic is. It's like you do absolutely nothing with those tires until it's time to run the clays. And I do think JConcepts fares in this field a lot better. They have tires, they have the Aquas, and they are good. The only issue with Aquas is that they maybe were a bit too fast for a lot of like the glue tracks. But the clays are amazing. So I think with Burak, it's gonna work out rather fine. And Canasby's winning races. They have a very similar style of driving. I don't see either one losing out over the other because of tires in the way they drive. Like what happened with Davide Ongaro and Ronefag, where Ongaro was good with Matrix and Ronefag absolutely sucked with Matrix because they drove so differently.
Absolutely, it was
so
crazy.
I think for Kilic, it's going to be a good move, and I think it'll be a good good union between the two. I think
so.
it would be good. I
hope so.
And I think a great move for JConcepts. If there was a driver that I would sign from Europe to run my brand, a tire brand that is, I think Burak would be the best one, because I think he can provide the best results at the sort of lowest cost.
I know what you mean. All right, we're gonna get into the exodus of drivers from HOTRACE. We had Nicola on her. If you haven't watched that podcast, it was episode 241, so it's technically before this one. And he was telling about drivers that are going to leave, and some Barufalo left again for the second time. Went to Jetco. Jetco is distributed by Kyosho America.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, Kyosho Europe.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised at this. So probably a combination deal right there. Trevisan, we saw, who was the Italian we talked about. He left. We assume he's going to Matrix.
Oh, he announced to Matrix.
Oh, he did? Okay, so he announced he's going to Matrix. Figueiredo and Boots were a little surprising. Figueiredo has joined Pro Circuit, but now that I look at it, he's very good friends with the Pro Circuit guys and close with them. So he's going to do like the whole ultimate, I don't know, not the engine, but the ultimate, fuel, the whole ultimate program that we see in Spain, or sorry, the Model X program that we see in Spain. And on those tracks, those guys like Josemi Sanchez and David Todd, they do quite well on the Pro Circuit tires because they run them, right?
Dude, I think I ran Pro Circuit before I joined AKA, This was
They've been around for a long time.
2014. Yeah. Oh, they have a world championship under their belt. They won the worlds in 2012
Yeah, with
in
Ferrari.
Argentina. Yeah.
Yeah.
They have European championships. They've been very successful. JQ's been like even Canas. He won Euro Bs with them. He had his first big results on the pro circuit. Burak Kilic, I believe TQ'd the Euros with pro circuit tires one year. At least he could rounds at the Euros with pro circuit before he joined Sismic. So they have a history of doing well. I think it was kind of after Robert left to AKA, they kind of stuck with the same tires they had. Then they took a new design approach with Monteiro on their team for like 2019, 2020. And they released the whole new line of tires. And they had this issue that the tire sidewall was quite high, which obviously wasn't really good for the modern style tracks. But in the last year or two, they've come back, improved the design a bit. I believe they've improved a lot of the things on the tire. I haven't followed that closely, and I do think they're much more competitive than they used to be. And I know they are cutting the tires shorter, so basically making the tire lower and lower than they've had it before, which probably helps a lot with the issues they had before. Yeah, I think they are competitive, and I think Joao joining them, I do think he was a great match with HOTRACE, but I think this can be interesting.
I would agree with you. And then, but it was hard to see because I know Joao and Nicola are very close. And then I think this was a big surprise was Boots, and I heard he was going to like VP Pro
VP Pro,
with Arcan, but surprised me, and I was wrong, and he went to GRP. Is that the Gandini girls family tires and all that stuff?
I think so. I
believe they are
those people. I'm pretty sure it's those guys. So they used to be.
They used to be big.
They used to be big. Like when you was running with your Megan cars back in the day, they used to be the best tires out there, right?
Yeah, I think like they were rebranded as many different tires too. I think if not mistaken. So
yeah, there was a time where they were different tires, and then
Drake when he was winning his when he won his nationals and all that stuff, he won a bunch of nationals with the Losi 8 and a GRP engine and GRP tires back in the day.
Yeah.
Was it GRP tires? It might have been. Yeah, because GRP tires were hot. Yeah, Yannick Igon. They had a lot of guys at one point.
Yeah. GRP used to be big. And then they went away and sort of stuck around to sell very cheap tires in Europe. So basically what they would do is they would produce their tires, not that high quality, but very cheap. And that was kind of the business model for years. And I don't know what's happened, but they've come out with a new line of tires, new line of compounds, and they were really successful. They won or did they finish second? They either won or finished second at I think they would finish second at the, Euro Bs. Maybe I'm wrong, but they made a name for themselves at the Euro Bs. A lot of guys ran GRPs in the main. And then Burak won at the Reg. No, I think it was the Reg GP with GRP tires in Gosaga. So suddenly they became a thing, and well, Boots is based in Gosaga, so
yeah, that makes sense.
I think they are possibly competitive when you can run the bar tire, but anything other than that, it's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell.
The tire game has changed a lot since they were last on top.
Oh, it's changed, yeah. But I do think it's a lot of different people as well. I mean, it's 20 years since they were there. And I've heard they also advertised that their tires were designed by AI, which are
You know who else they
like,
hired? My third favorite Portuguese driver, Carlos Duras.
Yeah. Man with the widest stance by far.
The most famous
tall as
punt
fuck.
of Ryan Lutz ever.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move into our last two moves here, which was Jorn to Seismic, which was kind of quiet. I would have.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't really have much to say about that. And Barkan to VP Pro. That was a weird move, but yeah, I thought we was going to see VP Pro sign a few more drivers, but I guess not, just Barkan.
You know what's interesting? Now that I think about it, Ogo. That was like they came onto the scene with a lot of
Hype.
hype, and then kind of now it's died down a lot. They are still good tires for sure. I think Jetco and Ogo, both of those are like,
And Matrix, all distributed by Kyosho Europe.
yeah, all of them are distributed by Kyosho Europe, but also Jetco and Ogo have, like, especially when it's an oil check, both of them
tire,
are like
belty tire.
incredibly good. Like
Damn
Ogo
belty tire.
has Ogo isn't belted, but it's like really good to drive, like very smooth and still has a lot of speed. And the Jetco, when it's like high grip oiled, has the belt, so it's like super sturdy, the carcass of the tire. So both of them are like, they have some outlying pace. And I actually think in Estonia, now that we have the e-buggy Euros, a lot of guys that don't have a tire sponsor are going to run Ogo because it's like super good there, because it's oiled and it's like low grip and oiled. Well, not low grip, but like medium grip and oiled. So it's like really, really good there. Same as it was in Montpellier. So it's like medium grip and oiled. That's where the Ogo shines. And then the Jetco, high grip and oiled. That's where it shines. But everywhere else, it's kind of like, so those are like interesting outlier brands. And I think GRP is one of those as well. Goes
I would say
into the
so.
category. So like outlier brands, but someone can win with them, like Berton did with Ogo in Montpellier that one year.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to be right back. And that commercial break is brought to you by Techno RC, Beach RC, and ML Toys.
Techno RC. Techno RC is a championship-winning manufacturer of high-performance A-scale, 10-scale, nitro, and electric RC buggies and trucks. With a worldwide dealer network, USA and Europe-based headquarters, comprehensive warranty program, and global race support, Techno RC is excellence in RC. View the full lineup of Techno RC race-proven vehicles by visiting www.technorc.com.
BeachRC.com, the racer's one-stop online hobby shop. Choose from all the popular brands and variety in stock with super fast shipping and great customer service. BeachRC.com still has the local hobby shop feel with all the benefits of the internet. BeachRC.com is the exclusive distributor for Ultimate Racing, S-Works, Pro Circuit Racing tires, Nitro Lux fuels, and Assault RC performance products. So fill up your cart and check out at BeachRC.com today.
Are you looking to take your ride-on car to the next level? Ride-on cars are fun and look good, but they're just too slow. ML Toys makes it easy. With plug-and-play modifications like motors, speed and brake controls, advanced gearing options, 4-point safety harnesses, and lighting upgrades like emergency lights, underglow kits, and headlights. ML Toys is the one-stop shop to make your ride-on car the coolest ride-on car in the neighborhood.
Alrighty, thank you to all those companies for their continued support. We have links for them in the written description of this podcast. All right, we're going to wrap this up with a few, I would say, smaller moves, but significant nonetheless. Orlovsky to 1UP. So that's where he would have, now where JConcepts would have been, is now going to be 1UP for his accessories. We saw that the other day. Cavalieri to high tech and alpha, which I was shocked at as well. So he could not stick it out with the Nova.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to comment. By the way, that he was the last standing Nova guy in America. In Europe, I believe the only driver they have is Burak.
They are
they
working
do
on the
have.
line though. I have a Nova. I have one.
Yeah,
In my
you have
gas truck.
like an old one.
No, I have one. My buddy Jimmy's been working with him, and he made some 12s for his gas trucks, and he gave me one. I'm going to run it when I go to the States here in a week.
Okay.
Now, I watched one run and was good. It was really good.
Yeah,
but it's
to me that's
specifically designed
interesting.
for the gas truck.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is I do think the engines that Burak has had recently have been, in my opinion, looking decent. I haven't seen any issue with them. But
He
then
has his own
again,
line now, right? They have a Burak engine now.
yeah, I know. So it sounds a bit weird that nobody can get them to work. I heard from Pekko that Cavalieri's engine was not the dream to tune at the Nationals. Yeah, but I don't know really, like what.
And then I've heard that
can be
too,
so
but
bad
then
about
I heard that too, but then I want them to work because we need other engine companies. It's not always just about OS all the time, So
yeah, and I just went to look at Corsetec's website, by the way, a week ago, and I realized that all of their new models are OS engines.
Really,
Like,
so they got
yeah,
off the stereo base. Yeah,
they still have them in stock, but I don't know if they're gonna get rid of them. I did watch because I got intrigued that are they gonna actually just stop doing the serial based, but at least what they ran at Buggyland, which was the last big race of last year, Know-how was still running the stereo based engine. All of the sort of non factory guys, well, pretty much Know-how is the only factory guy, but I mean like all of the like smaller guys like Jameson, what is it called? Edmonds, the guy who ran Mayako left Mayako. What's his name? Jaden Edmund. I don't know what I say, Jameson. But Edmonds and Likey, I don't know which way they pronounce the names. They ran Corsetec too.
Oh, okay. The Likies.
But Likies, yeah. But they run the OS based ones.
Mm.
But neither of those guys are like factory guys. I bet they get like a good deal or even free probably. But Know-how is like Adrian's Padawan, so it's a bit different. And I don't really know. Oh, and also Popolito runs, I think, Gimar or Ielassi, one or the other. But he runs Corsetec forward electric. Yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is I absolutely hope they won't get rid of the serial-based ones, because I do think they're good engines. They just need to fine-tune their manufacturing process where there is not that big of a difference between different batches. And also, I think it would be devastating to lose yet another engine manufacturer to, basically then we would have only OS and Reds. Now at least we have 4 different ones. We have the serial based, we have the OS, we have the Reds, and then we have the Nova. So there's at least 4. And Alpha, I guess you can count it, but I don't think it's a major player.
No, but the same things you said about the Nova, people would say about the Alpha, right? Especially with Ryan Lutz sometimes, and the bad fuel mileage and the flame outs that he's had with the engines. But then you have a group of people that love them. So we'll see what happens.
I don't understand the flame outs with the Alpha. I used to run Alpha as well. That was actually my first sponsor, I think, Alpha. Well, I guess, yeah, I think I was sponsored by Alpha before I was sponsored by JQ. Like sponsored straight by JQ, but I could be wrong. I digress. They were good, and the only issue with them was that they had terrible mileage. But I don't understand the flame outs. Like,
well, mind you, he probably hasn't had a flame out in a while, but we knew that Lutz was good for a flame out with the Alpha back in the day. I don't know if it's improved. It might have improved. It seems to have improved, but
like
still not good runtime.
yeah, the runtime I think would be fine, but to me it's wild that like how can you have flameouts? Like back in the day, Alpha was like almost as reliable as OS, or sometimes even better. The mileage
I'm
was
sure there's many that
bad.
will not agree with you. Sure, there was many. But
I don't know. I never had that experience.
I digress. We shall see. We shall see.
Well, I switched from Alpha to Reds. So I remember then it was like, oh, this engine actually feels nice and it's good mileage, but fuck, that was a fucking piece of shit to tune back in the day.
Davey Bada to Hobbywing. And why this is significant is because Bada ran R1. And R1 just released their new 2-wheel drive that they came out with. And they're coming out with a 4-wheel drive. So I'm thinking that Bada had to make a decision. Go run Hobbywing with my Mexican brethren.
Yeah.
Or go have to run the R1 car and leave Associated. And right now, I would beg to differ that Bada is probably number 2. Like he is on form right now. You know,
I'd say he's the most important driver in the 10 scale associated team, barring Carrot.
And really, even more than Aiden
I'd say
Horn?
that. Even more than Horn and both Rifkin.
And Rifkin?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Because I don't think Bata has reached his ceiling.
Okay.
And he's already beating both of these guys.
Okay.
So I think Bata is like, if I was AE, he would be the driver I'd be holding on to right now.
Okay. All right. Piet. Okay. I don't even know how to say that. Say that.
Who's that?
Pietsta.
Oh, it's just Peach.
Anyway, he's Oscar. What's his first name?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I should have wrote it down. I think it's Robert.
That's what we get for trying to talk about an Onroad guy. All right.
I know who he is. I think it's Robert, but I didn't want to say because I was. Let me see.
Anyway, he leaves Mugen after 16 years and joins Infinity. That's a long time to be
Robert Peach
brand and just leave.
Yeah, so basically, this guy is multi-time European champion. I believe he might actually be a world champion. Could be wrong. I think he won. That one time when everybody retired, and he was like the last one to stand. It was like 2016 or something in 1/8 Onroad. But he was basically a Nitro Onroad guy. Nitro Onroad guide for Mugen for the longest time. He was a racer and then slowly transitioned to a design role. And Mugen has under his sort of basically with him, Mugen has won multiple world championships, be it as a driver or as a designer. And he leaves Mugen and joins Infinity. Now, if this isn't one more step towards the death of Nitro on-road competition, I don't know what is. Because every single big name in the industry, except for a handful of Japanese guys and Kurzbuch and Gruber, apart from a handful of Japanese, Kurzbuch and Gruber, everybody else is with Infinity.
I know,
so
it's crazy.
It basically just
they earned that category.
Yeah, they just basically bought a whole category. And still they can't fucking win.
But they did go.
Yeah, I don't fucking care. You know, I don't care if you don't go to the Worlds. You don't win the Worlds if you don't go. I think as exciting as it was when they came into RC, I think it's mostly been an embarrassment to the sport.
Wow.
I think so.
Wow.
I think RC would be better off without Infinity.
Wow, Max.
I think so. And
I think you've told him. Wow.
No, because you basically, this guy is Mugen. You know, in every way, this guy is Mugen on road at this point. And like, I don't know. Okay, there could be a world where, or there could be a reality where Mugen just told him we couldn't pay you, and then he, Infinity was his only choice. Which I don't doubt the guy even in case that he was offered better money. I don't doubt him. or like give him any bad like feelings. I think for Robert, this makes all the sense, to join Infinity. But I think since Infinity joined Nitro Onroad, X-Ray pulled out. Hagberg, a world champion, Coelho, a European champion, pulled out because of X-Ray. Because of Infinity initially. A lot of other brands have basically have one guy competing against the whole team. And what these guys do when they go to races is they go to race and then they just drink and drive expensive cars and have a party and that. It's basically just like this guy who has money has bought some friends because he liked RC, and then like 8 scale and 10 scale on road doesn't mean anything anymore. Luckily for touring cars, I think the market is so strong that they can't really do that. Like they could buy more drivers, but I don't think they could buy the whole market. Or at least it would be way too expensive. So yeah, I'm like really disappointed because there was times where I was excited about Infinity, and I think what they're doing in 8 scale is fine. They have, they have their guy. They had Berton, and now they have Coelho, and then they have Kogi Kato, who's a up and comer, a talent that they're bringing up. I think that's admirable, like what they're doing. But what they did to Onroad, I think it's just silly, like.
Some might say, look on the flip side and say, if it wasn't for Infinity, it would have died a long time ago. Some might say that. I'm just saying.
Died altogether? Well, I mean, we still had Worlds without them.
Yeah, but it was only 50 people there. 50 entries.
Sure,
anyway,
but I mean, but it was still competitive at the top.
Hey, when Infinity sends you a cease and desist, send it to Max. Send that letter to Finland, not to the.
No, but I do think.
I understand your point.
When you have that much money and power, I think you have also a lot of responsibility. Like what's the point of owning something if it's just a piece of shit? At the end of it, like if you buy everyone and it's not really competitive, and you can boycott some world championships with your team, and like that means that the guy who is arguably the best in the world doesn't go. What the fuck is that? Like I think that's first one, and then like all of this grabbing people left and right. This one, I think there was more to it than them grabbing him. I think he also left Mugen or was like kicked out of Mugen. But yeah, I've given them a lot of time, and I don't think Infinity has gotten. They haven't achieved what I think they should have achieved, which is like anything of significance. The only thing I will give them credit for is that they support a lot of the media out there, and they do put a lot of their money into promoting RC, which is, I think, fine. But I think the sort of competitive integrity, that doesn't exist.
Great tangent, dude. Great tangent.
Yeah.
But I understand your point. But I'm sure others will look at it a different way. I understand your point.
I know, yeah. But it's kind of like when rich fuckers move into a cool, like, underground neighborhood, and then they fuck everything.
Are you saying that Infinity gentrified the
well, kind of
Nitro class?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. All right. Haatanen left Reedy Electrónics, and we kind of assumed he's going to Ruddog. He does work for Ruddog, so I'm assuming Ruddog's coming up with a full line of 10 scale ESCs motors, 8 scale ESCs motors.
They already had motors, but I think they just came out with an ESC. They have batteries and servos. Yeah, so I think it's interesting that Ruddog, they are the distributor of Associated in Europe, so they would obviously be the distributor of Reedy as well. But I think it's interesting that they're introducing their own product, which is directly competing with Associated and Reedy. Yeah, so I think that's interesting. But at the same time, I do think it makes sense in a lot of ways, because really, for some reason, I feel it's been stagnant for a long time. It's kind of like that brand that people who don't have a kind of like Racing Performer by Yokomo. They used to have that. Now they used to run Racing Performer. A lot of these top Yokomo guys used to run it. A lot of Yokomo team drivers used to run it. But I mean, it slowly faded away, and now, like, I don't think you even know what Racing Performer is. Like the Electrónics brand.
Wasn't it under HB?
No, it's Yokomo.
Okay,
Performa is a different one. Yeah.
Oh, that's Performa. That's what I was going to confuse it. But we shall see how it all works out. We've already gone out of over our limit. We're at 100 minutes.
I was prepared for this. I knew all along that it wasn't gonna.
We're gonna wrap this up in 5 minutes. But yeah, we'll see what Ruddog brings out. I would like to see some more 8-scale electronics. And whatever you do, please have Bluetooth app connectivity. So simple, so easy. But there's a lot of little moves, and I'm sure we missed some. So if we did miss some, let us know in the comments that we missed, which you think are significant. Keep that algorithm going, because those are the ones we could find. Max, anything to add before we wrap this up and have a look at what we think about this silly season and then go on?
No.
Did you went on a 15-minute tangent about Nitro Onroad?
About Infinity Nitro Onroad.
All right. Sidewinder Fuels. Morgan Fuel has been collaborating with many of the world's top drivers for over 40 years. This has enabled them to test our fuels in many of the world's most challenging situations and take the development of competition fuels to the next level. The result has been Sidewinder, the market's most powerful racing fuel. This race fuel has been track tested and proven by national world champions like Ryan Cavallari, Ryan Mayfield, Greg Degani, Mark Pavitas, and Phelon Win. Little Bump is using it right now. He's using it for quite a long time, actually.
Yeah.
These drivers appreciate that Sidewinder is blended. Yeah, he has. Sidewinder is blended perfectly for high performance needs of competitive racing. Don't let victory slip through your fingers. Purchase Sidewinder today. So let's finish up on our synopsis of silly season. We agree, very few chassis moves, very quiet in that stance. Lots of tire moves. Who's going to have it right in, what is it, 7 months, 7-8 months in Thornhill? That is going to be the question. And what type of surface? We don't know. Like, they could switch it up and not even have the same surface. Yeah. But we shall see. It's going to be interesting. Very interesting. And did you want to add on to something that before we go into? Because I think that what we're seeing with the tire situation, like we said, Matrix has the money to come into the USA market, assign people like Dakota Fan, push really hard right off the bat. We're going to see a tire war in 10 scale, especially every race that we go to with Matrix now involved in the mix, and then throw in we'll see how they get going at SIC. So, like, I would say that JConcepts dominance for a while, because it was a time, I know a lot of people got into RC when JC wasn't the best tire in RC, right? Mm-hmm. It was an upcoming brand. It was going against Proline. And then I was actually talking to Jason about this. They came up with 8-scale tires. Excuse me, prior to AKA. They came out about a year before AKA came out. But when AKA came out, like, they took the world on by storm and challenged Proline. And then it was like Proline and AKA battling out with a little mix with JConcepts there. But eventually, after Horizon bought Proline, and then all the drivers got let loose, like Ty Tasman was going at them, Drake. It was like they let everybody go at one time. Pretty much, JC absorbed a lot of those guys. Not Tasman, he went to HOTRACE, but like Drake, Born Horse, all those guys. And I'm not saying they were getting a salary, but they were probably getting some help and contingency. So JConcepts had a period of time where they had complete dominance, and they still will. And I think in 8 scale, they'll still be completely dominant, and they're still a dominant brand. But in the 10 scale side of things, these guys are pushing, and they're gonna. I'm not saying that HOTRACE isn't pushing on 8 scale or Matrix one either, but I do believe that in the USA side of things, and some of these bigger races that we're going to go to that are indoors and outdoors, that JConcepts has the upper hand. Now, if this is in Europe, obviously it would be a whole different story, right? But every time these guys hit the track, it's going to be for more than just chassis. And, I like that. And I'm sure this eases up JConcepts a little bit from having to pay out all that money and give away all those tires to all these people that they had to give away. But now the battle is going to be on the track, right? Everyone's going to be watching. It's going to heat up. It just makes for better racing, more emotions, more storylines, everything going in. That's what we love, right? And I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about this is I actually believe throughout the history, like all of JConcepts history, basically as a tire manufacturer, they've actually been more dominant in 8 scale than they've been in 10 scale. If you think about it, like, sure, you would assume JConcepts to be more of a 10 scale brand, and yes, they've had a lot of success with the dirt webs and what is the other bar tire they have? I don't know what's that called, and all of that, and Kinwald used to run them, I think, and they've made their name in 10 scale.
Yes.
But when you think about it, throughout all of those years, you had still Tebow running AKA, and then he was running Proline for a while. You had Cavalieri going from JConcepts to Proline to AKA, and then back to JConcepts and Proline, and then you had a lot of these other like big 10 scale names during whatever time period run competitive brands. So it was never like the top 5 of the race would be purely JConcepts, nor it would be that purely Proline or whatever.
I mean, there were times back in the day, but that wasn't Proline was the only tire, to be fair. There were other tires, but Proline was.
There was times when Proline was the top 5, but that was before 2010. Like that was way before 2010. But what I'm talking about is basically 2010 onwards. So the recent history. There was this like battle between pretty much at all points of existence. Like it was Mayfield with JConcepts, and then it was Cavalieri and Tebow with AK or Proline at some point. And then Cavalieri dipped his toes with JConcepts a few times. So yeah, that was kind of the thing in 10 scale. When you look at 8 scale, after like I'd say basically when like you said, when Proline went to A main, there was
Horizon.
Horizon. There was times when in 8 scale, and even now when you look at these 8 scale races, like the whole podium, whole top 5 is JConcepts. But pretty much like the only contenders not running JConcepts at these big races is like Lutz. And I don't really know of anyone else who doesn't run. Maybe like Lime with ProMotion.
And then we got to throw Raw Speed as well. Is going to throw their don't forget them because Lutz is looking good on Raw Speed tires and 8 scale.
Yeah.
So that's another contender that's coming out as well. We forgot to talk about them. I don't know how, but yeah.
Yeah. But basically what I'm trying to say is like in 8 scale, when you go to PMB, everybody runs JConcepts. There's like literally no one who doesn't run JConcepts. So that level of dominance is like they got like probably more than 80% of the pro class running JConcepts. I'd say probably more than 90% at times running JConcepts.
And not only that, the people that are running the tires that aren't pros is immense. Too,
exactly. Yeah. So
because they work, right?
They are really good. They are really good. So that level of dominance it's a bit too much in a way because we're still competing. These brands are supposed to be competing and so on.
It gets stagnant.
It gets it gets stagnant and like Tessman was for the longest time a real contender against that JConcepts reign, but then he fell off. And yes, Cavalier ran Proline for a while, but that was never really there. And
HOTRACE was challenging them with like re-rows and stuff, but still just not,
Then Rose joins JConcepts and wins his first ever big race. So it's like it really throws a bad shade into these other brands. So they have been really like challenged. But when you look at 10 scale, Horn's been running Proline. some of these guys have been successful. Even Cavalieri was more successful in 10 scale with the Pro Line tires. So there's been more challenge in 10 scale at least. But
have another
now,
challenge now.
yeah, but last year we saw HOTRACE being a big challenge to JConcepts in 10 scale. And now Matrix are coming in, and they're going to be a big challenge to them in 10 scale. And I think we have some more tires. TZO, I guess they have
TZO, ProMotion, Raw Speed. I don't know who else is going to be making tires, but they're gonna see. It's gonna happen. It's going to happen. It's gonna be too much again. Yeah, but I get what you're saying. Competition breeds innovation, and
yes, exactly,
better and more stuff. So now these companies have to pull up all of them because they're all competing, right? Including JConcepts, all have to pull up their socks and get back to the drawing boards and let's settle this out on the track, right? Because the tire, as we know, is probably the most, if not one of the most important components of the car that is on there, right?
I'd say a bad car with a good tire can win, but a good car with a bad tire, I don't think that can win. So I think it's the biggest thing, and I do think there is still in 8 scale it's much more difficult. I don't know why, but I know it's much more difficult. I guess I know why. It's because all of the tracks are very different. So having the right tire, right tread, all of that for all of the conditions is almost impossible. So I think the biggest challenge is going to be making a tire that works on the East Coast. Because HOTRACE is good on Silver State and DNC. They have no issue being good there. Even Matrix, I can see them making it work. TZO, obviously, we know it works there. But the East Coast is something
Raw Speed worked there. Raw Speed's been working. Remember, Lutz has been doing well at both Southeast. He's been doing well. He hasn't won, but he's TQ'd. He's done this. He's done well.
Yeah, I think actually maybe a bit surprisingly, Raw Speed has probably given the biggest challenge to JConcepts so far in the East Coast. When you think about it, in the recent years, and Matrix is going to be an outlier. It could work initially, like from the get go, it could be good, or then they could need some work on it. Either way, I think it's going to be interesting to see if anyone can challenge that. In Europe, it's kind of like we have so many different conditions throughout the year, so many different tracks that we see, like Seismic works there, HOTRACE works there, Matrix works there. That we have that. But in America, it's so dominant for JConcepts that I wonder if people are going to be able to break into it. But now we're going to see. Now is the time when we actually see.
We shall see. All right. We're going to finish this off with something that we kind of were talking about this year, and we all looking at it going into 2026 with these companies not willing to take any big risks, no big signings, no push for no larger growth. I think this is a sign of you haven't heard, the macroeconomic instability. In fact, I call it tariffs and that type of stuff. So we are seeing teams, I wouldn't say slow down, but we're seeing teams be conscious about where they put their money. If you heard the Nicola conversation, he was like, I want more. He said this. He said, winning is your job. Results are your job. Winning is your job. I pay you for that. And I pay you more for that. He goes, I want more than that. So what we're seeing is these companies, even when we went around we have less sponsors this year, right? Obviously, everybody's kind of pulling, cinching the belts and, cinching the purse straps quite tight this year. Lots of people complaining the tariffs are hurt people. I mean, I got hit by a tariff from Fly Sky for like $90 on something that was valued at $150. So we're seeing this kind of affecting RC in a way. And these companies kind of just holding, they don't know. I think they're holding their cards very close and to see what's going to happen here. And they want more from they want more from their drivers, which is fair. Give us more, give us some videos. Like, we talked about this, like what Spencer Rifkin does, like what Aiden Horn does. Look what these guys are doing. Brandon Rose is doing stuff like that. So, and I think it's great because the more of that content that makes those guys way more comfortable in front of cameras, makes them have much more of a personality and character build up. And yeah, if you're gonna be a pro, it's not gonna be simple enough just to go get results. You're gonna have to build up your personality and build your brand, like any other motorsport around or any other sport out there in the world, as far as I'm concerned. And you know what we're gonna find out? We're gonna find out if Horizon and TLR had it right the whole time very soon.
Yeah, because they kind of it's interesting. I guess if you look at it, the number of pros didn't necessarily decrease this year. We didn't really have any pro retire or get just like doesn't have a deal anymore. There isn't a situation like that. But what we usually see is like some players coming in and clearly like signings that clearly have money behind them. We did not have any of those except for Fent Matrix. That was the only one. I'd say. So to me, like it's a very, very different feeling than usually. Like we didn't.
These guys
have
are good
any of
wherever
those.
they could get a paycheck.
Yeah, it seems like a lot more sort of scavenging than.
I don't want to say desperate, but it seems like yeah.
It
Here
does.
we go.
It does.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it
but
does.
I understand it 100% because they have to make a paycheck. They have to make a
Yeah, yeah.
salary. They have to.
Yeah, and also I also understand it from the point of the companies because
Me too.
even though you say tariffs, it's not just tariffs because EU's economy isn't doing like sure it's doing much better than like the American. I'm talking about like ordinary people's economy. I'm not talking about stock markets or whatever. But even the EU, there is concerns of economic instability. Um, and you can see it from people like I'd say Finland is getting it the worst, but there are countries that have this sort of there is an economic downturn all across the world, and it's a result of trade war going on, and it hurts us probably the most because if you have a family, are you going to buy your kids food or have heating to your house or go to the RC track? Well, it's quite an easy choice. That's the first thing people cut, and that's all of that money is away from the pro salaries. It's away from the races that we have. It's away from all of that. So it's understandable. It's bigger than us, I think, and I think this year is going to be one of the toughest. And there's going to be a lot of stressed out people all around the tracks, really. And I think Thornhill is going to be one of those races where some people know their career will be over. I think.
Really?
I think so. I think because if you think about it, I'm very certain that 90% of those people who switched brands last year made a 2-year deal. So,
interesting. It's gonna be very interesting.
So their deal is going to be up by the end of 2027, by the end of 2026. I mean, and if you didn't do good at the Worlds, if you didn't do good at Royal Nationals, if you didn't do good at these big races, I think there's going to be people who know it's over. Like they don't have anywhere to go.
Next year's SillySeason is going to be big.
I think it's going to be. Yeah, I think it's going to be. There's two ways of it. I think there's going to be brands who have successfully made it through 2026. I'd imagine Matrix to be one of those. I think they're going to make a big push, take a big chunk of the 10 scale off-road market in America. And I think they're going to come out of 2026 looking rather good. And then as soon as other companies who didn't fare out so well start kicking out their drivers, I think companies like that, like what I expect would go on with Matrix, those will pick the crumbs up. And that's basically what happened with JConcepts with Proline back in the day. And there's going to be chassis manufacturers who do that. And then just some drivers are going to be left out. It's, what is it called? Musical chairs. I think that's what's going to happen at the end of this year. But I could be wrong. It could be that this year everything turns around, RC blossoms, and
I don't think RC is not blossoming. I just think that these companies are being more careful with their money. Like instead of
but it could be that
like you have to weigh the options. Do we go? All right. Do we let's take Fenn for option. Do we pay what he wants and get some victories, but we're getting victories already and selling product already? Or that's what these decisions made. Or do we have like Mayfield who's selling product and Rivkin who's selling product, and we have Brandon Rose who's racing, and that's they have a lineup like it's like Associated. Associated has a stacked lineup too. So, but yes, more from drivers, which means more, which for me, which seems to be more content, and I love it. I was watching Brandon Rose's vlog the other day. I watched Aiden. So it's all good. So, and these guys, that's what's going to carry RC to the future. And like you said, we might see at the end of 2026 a lot of mashup. So we shall see. But you know what? I'm actually quite proud of us. We only went 30 minutes over schedule.
I told you 90 minutes plus 30.
All right. Well, what do you guys think about our wrap up on SillySeason? What do you think is going to happen? Let us know in the comments. Feed the algorithm down there, especially in the YouTube. And we appreciate you guys' support. We can't do it without you guys. Max, thank you for your time. Good luck on the move to France. Good luck with Max Tangents. I probably won't be seeing you for another 3 weeks to a month.
Yeah, you're leaving.
Yeah, I'm leaving soon. I'll be at Beast to the East, which I'm looking forward to, SIC, and then INS. So back to the races for me, which I'm happy to be. I've been home long enough. And I hope to see you guys at the races and come up and have a conversation. Like, don't be scared to come up and talk. Look, man, anybody in the world can come up and talk to me. If we talk on Facebook, I might not recognize. A lot of people are like, yeah, we talk on Facebook, but I talk to so many people on Facebook. I don't know who they are. Sometimes you just, okay, yeah, I remember who you are. But I'm looking forward to it. And it should be, all that we said, doom and gloom, I think it's still going to be a good year of 2026. Racing, we got a lot of racing on tap. And we have Worlds, and I cannot wait.
All right, I think the year is going to be good. I just think at the end of the year, there's going to be some anguish.
Yes, of course. All right. Well, I want to say thank you to all of you guys out there, the NNRC squad around the world. We can't do that without you guys. Thank you. Please hit that like notification button if you've done it already. Help us run it up to 10,000 subs and beyond on YouTube. Check us out on our socials. We're on TikTok, Facebook, as well as Instagram. And if you like what we're doing and you wish to support us a little bit more, you can to get things like early access. You can join us on the NNRC Patreon or the YouTube membership. We have links for that in the written description. And a big shout out to these companies that make it possible as well. JConcepts, High Tech RC, Sidewinder, Beach RC, Invisible Speed, ML Toys, Clinic RC, Techno RC, Get Shit Done Coffee, Elite RC Productions, One Up Racing, Mayako, SMC, Batteries, Racecraft USA, A-Main Hobbies, from Max and Lefty. We're out. We'll see you guys later. Nitro's the glory. E-Buggy pays the bills. And Max is not the champion of SillySeason. You think I didn't see that down there? You're not the champion, and I'm not going to give you a chance to respond to this. So see you later.